I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of the game. We're going to set up and show the rules for a 5-player version of Global Crisis. So let's get started. So for this demonstration, I have a number of cards that are part of the prototype. These are not final art. There's not even the art that you see on the Kickstarter site, but you'll have a number of player aid cards to help remind people the rules. You want to shuffle the full deck to play the game, and then we have these leader cards. Since we're using with the Agent of Chaos expansion, we need to give everybody a leader card. Now, in a 5-player game, which we have, there is a chance, since there's 8 leader cards, that someone will not receive the Agent of Chaos, but we won't know that. After shuffling the leader cards, give 1 to each player. Keep these secret. However, each player is allowed to look at the card that they have to determine whether they're the Agent of Chaos. Shuffle the deck and distribute 5 cards to each player. These cards are kept secret from all the other players. Throughout the game, you will keep 5 cards at the end of each turn. Each player will now have their leader card and 5 play cards. There are 2 basic card types in the game. One are challenge cards. The other are asset cards. There are 5 different types of challenge cards, each represented by another color. There are 2 types of asset cards. One is material assets, and the other is abstract. At the start of your turn, the first thing you'll do is a global crisis check. If at any point during the game, at the start of your turn, you have 5 global challenge cards in your hand, you have a global crisis. The players to the left and the right of you must immediately discard 1 asset card of their choice. If they do not have an asset card, they do not discard. Players will take turns choosing which of the 5 options of actions they wish to take on their turn. The first action is diplomacy. In diplomacy, one player selects a card from their hand and hands it to another player. That player then looks at all the cards in their hand, including the one they just received, and returns a card back to the other player. The second action option is to host a summit. In this action, you discard any card from your hand and pick a player. That player discloses any number of a color in their hand.
2 more cards.
This information is available to everybody in the game. The third action is to call for a conference. In this option, you select a player to discard. That player discards any card, and you reveal as much information as you can about one color in your hand.
I have 3 green materialism cards.
This information is also available to all the players in the game. The fourth action option is foreign aid. Foreign aid can only be given to another player and not to yourself. In this case, you select any asset card in your hand, and with the knowledge you have about another player, discard that card and select a player that you would like to receive foreign aid. That player then plays as many of a color set into the middle of the board. That can be added to with further foreign aids to other players. The fifth action is to form a global policy. As the game progresses, cards through foreign aid will naturally enter the middle of play. Once this reaches a certain point, players can select 1 asset card of material and 1 asset card of abstract and place it down to score. That set can no longer be added to, but at the end of the game, it will now score points based on the number of cards in the set. In this example, there are 5 cards in the set, scoring 7 points. Since the extreme version is also there, 2 is added to the score, so this set is worth 9 points. In addition to your normal action, Or as a standalone action, you can select one of the special asset cards in your hand and use the action listed on that card. In this case, Renewal can swap this card with any card in the discard pile. The discard pile remains open to all players throughout the game. In this case, in order to further the war card set, the +2 extreme version was swapped. When using the Agent of Chaos option, players may at some point become suspicious of another player. As an action on their turn, that player can first discard an asset card to the discard pile. Then, after a little debate, players will vote on the player they think is being most suspicious, and possibly the Agent of Chaos. If there's a majority vote, and in this case there is, that player reveals their leader cards to all other players. If it is a normal leader card, their country goes into a state of chaos and immediately declares a global crisis. The players to the left and right of that player must now discard an asset card. That player then draws a new leader card from those available. Note, this could create an Agent of Chaos. If, however, the player that was accused has the Agent of Chaos card, that player now must discard the Agent of Chaos and draw a new leader card. Since the rest of them are all normal leaders, they join the rest of the group back in the cooperative goal of trying to create global prosperity. Play continues until all 5 sets of challenges have a unique global policy attached to them. They now can each score, and the game ends. Players tally each set and then check it against the score card. Victory is 51 points or higher. The game can also end when players attempt to draw back to 5 cards and there aren't enough cards in the draw pile. Game then immediately ends and the sets are scored. Any set without a policy is worth -3 points.